Hi coaches, welcome to another season of Coach Pitch Softball. We really appreciate you volunteering your time. I know there's a lot of things going on and we really appreciate you. We couldn't do this program without you, so really looking forward to this season and we appreciate you so much. And coaches, here we go. We're going to begin the season on May 10th and the season will end on June 17th. So let's get all those kiddos paid. Let's try to get them paid by April 27th so they'll all have their shirts in time to play. And we won't be scrambling to get those kids the shirts at the last minute, although we, whatever we have to do for you, but try to get that payment in as soon as possible so everybody can get their shirts at the same time. Once you get your roster, coaches, or if you already have it, please reach out to every player. Make sure you're contacting them. If you can't contact them, get with us. We might have a better alternative to get hold of those parents. Just really don't leave the parents out there hanging where they don't know where their team is or who their coach is, because they're pretty excited. They've probably been signed up for a few weeks. So make sure you contact them first thing when you get your roster and get those teams going. Appreciate that. Make sure that any adults that you may have working with you as a coach or as an umpire, as a volunteer umpire, please have those folks do a background check with us, because it is required for both all the assistants and for the umpires to have background checks. We'd really like for you to have 2 or 3 adults that can umpire 18 or over all of your games. Home team will provide the home plate umpire. Visiting team will provide the field umpires. So make sure you get together. Make sure you have enough adults have said they would do that, and then get them background checks so we know that we got some people out there helping us out. So during this season in Coach Pitch, it's a little different for T-ball. We give you a little more equipment. We give you 2 bats, 3 11-inch softballs, and they're the softer softballs, 1 catcher's mask, 1 chest protector, and 1 set of bases, which includes a home plate and a pitcher's rubber. So all we ask is once that season over, please return it immediately. We can keep our costs at a better rate if we always have equipment here that we can keep using instead of having to replace non-returned equipment. So let's make sure that we get those turned in as fast as possible. It really helps us out a lot. All catchers must wear the face mask and chest protector. Let's make sure we're protecting them from a foul ball or anything like that where they could get hit in the face. Tennis shoes and rubber cleats are required. No steel cleats out there on that turf because all our games are on turf. Jewelry is not permitted. Once again, simple bobby pins and stuff like that are not what we're talking about. We're talking about the hanging jewelry, anything that a kid could catch on another kid or on equipment or anything like that. If you have a kid that's been hurt or anything and they have a hard cast or plaster cast, please don't let them play. That's just an injury waiting to happen with maybe hitting someone else. So if they have a cast, let's hold them out until they're ready to play. Each game will consist of 5 innings or a 75-minute time limit, whichever occurs first. So if you're in the 3rd inning, it's been 75 minutes. At the end of that at bat, that's the ball game. So no inning is to begin after time has expired. So when you have starting time, please get with both scorekeepers, get together. You have the same starting time so there's no confusion on what time the game should be ending. So as far as positions, you'll be allowed 10 people out on the defense. You can't start a game with less than 8 players. If a team's struggling to get some players there and they have 8, we will start the game with 8, but no less than 8, because then you're going to get into where there's not enough fielders or something. Only 6 infielders, and that includes the catcher in the infield. All outfielders must be 5 feet behind the baseline, behind second base. So let's make sure they're 5 feet behind all the bases, so we're kind of got a fair defense for the offense to have a chance. Each player must play at least 2 defensive innings. So they might not always get to their at-bats, like 3 or 4 at-bats like some of the other players, but they must be in the lineup hitting the whole time, and then they must at least play 2 innings of defense. All games that we're going to play this year will be at the middle school football field, so you're going to have some nice turf fields out there that we'll set up. Your field dimensions are here, but they're in your packet. If you'll look in your back, it tells you exactly how far your bases should be. So go to this packet, get this diagram, and it will tell you exactly how to set those bases up out there. And when we're out there on the fields, we have those fields reserved for Kids Inc., but you will run across random people out there like practicing football or playing or practicing other sports or softball. And we don't want you getting any argument or any kind of confrontation, but just let them know that if they're getting on your field and getting in the way, that we do have the field reserved. And if it goes any farther than that, just let me know and we'll sure help you out on that. So after inning, let's get the scorekeepers kind of sitting close together. I mean, they could sit right next to each other, but at least close enough where they can confirm each score, like after the innings, like what the score is at the end of the inning, how much time's left. So that way we're never confused and have a disagreement on score or the time that's left. And the umpire, go ahead and have him check each inning to confirm that the scorekeepers agree on what they have, like as far as score and stuff, so we can get that situated quick. In case of a dispute, the umpire will make the final decision. So pretty much a home team is probably going to have the scorebook, the official scorebook, but both keep score so that way we'll have a good score and it's fair to both teams. Both teams need to bring all their bases to the game. You never know if one forgets, and then at least we have a set there to play. The home team is listed first on the schedule, so whoever's listed first on the schedule is the home team. Please make sure something else we're teaching on coach pitch, make sure the batters aren't throwing the bat behind them. I mean, it could be called an out, but let's try to teach them to set the bat down. It's a really kind of a big thing in this age group because they do sling the bat sometimes, and we could get somebody hurt that's standing behind them, so we want to make sure we're not doing that. A coach or parent, a parent with the background, if they're going to be involved as a pitcher or assistant coach, they need a background. But a coach or parent will pitch to their own team. And a defensive player will be beside you on the pitching mound, or right beside you, just far enough to have some room. The adult pitchers must not get in the way of the ball as good as they can. Don't stick your hand out. Don't try to stop the ball or do anything like that. And after the pitch, try to move out of the way as quick as possible without causing any kind of interference. Just kind of get out of the way as good as you can. Another thing, if a runner is running around the base, I know we all get excited and you're like trying to get them to go back to a base, or hey, you need to go, and you put your hands on them to help them. Don't do that. It is an out. It will be called an out if the umpire sees it. So please make sure we're not touching base runners because, that's an old rule. I mean, you can't touch a base runner. The team batting, you can have a first base and a third base coach. And the defensive team may have one coach standing behind the infield if you feel that it's necessary, but only one. Let's not have 3 or 4 parents out there at every position. It really causes a cluster, and you don't have any room to move. So one coach can stand behind the defense and help them out. A base runner, we're not going to call them out for leaving the baseline, like if they're just confused and they're young and little and they don't know where to run. But if they are avoiding a tag and run away and get out within about 3 feet area of the baseline, the umpire should feel free to call them out. But if it's not avoiding a tag and it's just running the wrong way or going far out, just let's let that go. But just avoiding tags is what we'll do on the 3-foot baseline. And before the game, let's get with the umpire and both coaches, and let's talk about any dead ball areas. Like if you have a bunch of trees or if you have a street that's closed, let's make sure if a ball goes that way that we call it dead ball area. You will be able to advance a base if it was thrown by infielder or outfielder, but not 2 bases if it leaves the playing field. So like if a outfielder throws a ball over someone and it's still in the playing field, you can go 2 bases. You can go up to 2 bases. But if it's out of play, then we're going to go 1 base. And make sure on that dead ball, that's really important. You're going to have a lot of parks out there and stuff that you want it to be called dead if it lands. So be sure both coaches agree and the umpire agree. All players present, like every player that you have at the game, has to be in the batting order. They don't have to play the field to get a turn at bat, but remember you got to play 2 innings during the game. But in 3 outs, we'll retire the side. That means that all 10 batters may not bat like in T-ball. So 3 outs, we'll retire. So if you do get to the 10th batter in the inning, comes up to bat, then it does apply the 10th rule, just like in T-ball. It's the 10th batter, they have to score, or you can, if there's 2 outs, you play it like it's 2 outs. But you can get the 3rd out. If there is 2 outs, you can get the 3rd out as a force out or anything else. You don't have to touch home plate. But if you want, you can run, touch home plate, and that ends whatever's happened during that at bat. So if they get that 3rd out, if there is 2 outs and they get that 3rd out, then that ends the inning. No runs to score, obviously. But if there was only 1 out or 0 outs, obviously the play keeps going and you have to touch home plate. And the umpires, they are volunteers for us. So let's make sure anything they call or something, let's not get out of control and argue and all that. The umpires are out there as volunteers and they're just helping us out. Umpires, we're not going to call runners out for missing a base. But let's just keep reminding the runner to touch every base. and only the 2 umpires, because the visiting team will provide a field umpire, the home team will provide the home plate umpire. So let's just make sure we're reminding the kids and teaching them to touch the base and making sure that we're teaching them the right way to play the game. And coaches, let's remember that when you're out there with those kids, either at practice, at the games, or in any kind of communication, that you're kind of responsible, or you are responsible for their mental well-being, their physical, making sure they're not getting hurt, making sure they're having a good time, making sure you're making it a fun experience. Because and also control your fans and your parents. They are a reflection of the team, and the coach is responsible. Let's not have any over the line activity with parents and coaches arguing or get into confrontations with other parents. Let's not have that something that we'll have to get involved in, but hopefully I'm pretty sure that won't happen. So code of conduct, like what we're kind of talking about with what I just said about the parents, no profane, obscene, abusive, or degrading language. Let's not have that out in front of the kids. No aggressive or abusive manner, like going after someone or any kind of violence. It's not going to be tolerated. We do appreciate our volunteers, but at the end of the day, we're not going to tolerate any kind of thing like that. Doesn't mean that you can't question a call or ask a question. Absolutely, we want you to do that. Also, no use of drugs, alcohol, or tobacco is permitted while at the ballpark with the kids or around the game. So let's make sure we're not bringing anything like that out there. So make sure that we're just keeping the roster. We're the players on there that deserve to play. They paid, they're ready to go, they've got their shirts. They should be the only ones playing in the game. Just use good sportsmanship on all that stuff. Also our games will be Tuesday and Friday in the coach pitch from 6 p.m. to 7:45 p.m. So make sure that you got your bases, make sure you got all your equipment ready to go at 6, ready to play at 6 o'clock, lineups in, a scorekeeper's on point, everything ready to go. We'll be using all the same fields as the T-ball, all the middle school fields, and that could change, week to week, but we'll sure try to keep that pretty consistent for you. Any questions on the dimensions? Just back in your coaching packet, you're going to have all the field dimensions, where the bases go, where the defense has to be placed, and that way you have the game. Everything's consistent all year long. This is the criminal history authorization. Please get online. You can get online and fill that out, and do that as quick as possible for both your assistant coaches and your umpires. So that way we'll have people ready to go when the season starts. So other than that, all I got to cover is have a great season. We really appreciate you guys coaching every year in every sport. A lot of you guys do multiple sports for us. Can't do it without you. Really hope you have a great season, and please call if you have any more questions or reach out to me or anybody in our office. Thank you.